What is up, guys? Moon here, Keith, and today I'm here for episode 2 of Seduce Me the Otome. And yeah, we just exited the classroom with Naomi and Suzu, and we finished our project. And I wanted to name it Butts, but we couldn't name it Butts. We had 2 of them, and I chose the Trinity Corporation. And yeah, so Suzu just ran out of the classroom, and we're following her. And she just said, "Man, you guys are slow. Are you coming or what?"
We heard you the first time. Not everyone has rocket boosters attached to their legs when the bell rings.
Are you kidding me? That class was ridiculously boring. Even Miss Valedictorian here was dozing off a bit.
I do have to admit, I was spacing out, and just because I answered one question doesn't mean I'm automatically the valedictorian.
Okay, so it wasn't too interesting. But you should at least pay attention when Phillips is talking about the important parts.
So you finally admit it. We're finally on the same wavelength. Welcome to the club, Patterson.
Please, don't call me by my last name. This isn't the classroom. And never in a million years will we ever see things eye to eye.
Despite this, they both burst out in laughter. Normally, anyone would think that opposites like them would never associate with each other. But even though they were so different, their friendship somehow made a lot of sense. Maybe they were just perfect complements, or personalities that just didn't dictate the possibility of their friendship. After all, we 3 had been best friends since preschool.
Alright, so where are we heading to first? Cafeteria? I think we can all agree that we're really hungry, especially after hearing about our company's line of deliciously spicy bubblegum.
Who would even buy that? I wonder.
Me? I would pay good money to get a taste of it.
Ha 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 ha! You do like spicy food after all. It's a fucking nice classroom, or lunchroom. We entered the cafeteria, a bustling room filled with aromas of different kinds of food. As we got in line, we ordered our meals, chatted and chatted freely. Man, this place sure is frickin' bustling. Look at all those fucking people.
Cajun fries and the spicy chicken burger for me. That's my definition of a good meal.
I'll take a tuna sandwich and some juice. You're probably going to need water or something to curb all that spicy flavor, Suzu.
I can't be tamed by the likes of that. If it's spicy, then it's gotta be all or nothing.
Baby, it's all or nothing, it's you and I.
You're crazy.
Crazy.
Hell yeah, I'm crazy.
I think I'm getting a migraine.
Use the crazy bitch. I think I'll go with just mac and cheese and soap. Fuck, that sounds gross. I don't like mac and cheese very much. I mean, I like it sometimes. I like Gouda mac and cheese. It's pretty great. Actually, yesterday I went to the aquarium with Michaela, and we had some it was like barbecue stuff with mac and cheese on top of it in a skillet, and it was really good. So I like that stuff. What Naomi's having? What, Cajun fries and spicy chicken burger too. Might as well go spicy today. Girl, spicy as hell. Once we get our food, we settle down at one of the empty tables, putting our backpack aside to finally dig into the food. Suzu leaned back in her chair, tilting it back to see if she could rest her feet on the table by her food.
All right then. Is there anything we want to talk about?
Bored already?
I know. Let's talk about...
Say boys, and I will never speak to you ever again.
Aw, why not?
What's so interesting about talking about guys? It's not like any of us are gonna get boyfriends anytime soon.
Oh girl, you don't know how good I am with people of the opposite sex.
We don't know that. What if one of us does get a boyfriend?
Like that's going to happen, Naomi. Look at us. I'm a tiny Italian. You're a ditzy blonde.
Hey!
No offense. And Anderson here. Well, I guess she could land a boyfriend or girlfriend if she wants.
Or girlfriend?
She can be a lesbian if she wants.
Yeah, girl. I am into that shit on the down low.
True.
True. It's okay, Suzu. I'm not sure I want a boyfriend
Why
yet.
not? It's our senior year. Might as well get a boyfriend.
Maybe she's just not interested in a relationship, Suzu.
Well, I really wasn't about waiting, but I really wasn't about wanting a relationship, but more of there was no one. Wait, it wasn't really about wanting a relationship, but more of there was no one interesting enough to be in a relationship with. Don't get me wrong, I'm an open person, but there were not many interesting guys in our school to go out with. Who knows? Time will tell. Naomi looked at me, wanting to continue the conversation. However, before she could speak, the speakers in the cafe started up and an announcement echoed through the cafeteria.
Miss Anderson, please come to the main office immediately. Please bring your things with you.
Oh my.
Looks like our plans have been cut short. The men in white coats have finally come to get you.
Suzu, don't joke around. What if it's serious?
Fine. If something happens, just call us.
What's happening here? There's some dastardly deeds going on. Funny enough, something did happen. And it was certainly no laughing matter. Cold. It was really cold. The rain became heavier that afternoon, accompanied by the rolling thunder, and now and then... accompanied by the rolling thunder now and then. The skies that had turned dark, though I couldn't see any of it under the black umbrella. Not that I was looking up. In fact, looking up was the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. I stared at the grass beneath my feet, unable to look up at the people weeping around me. All I could see was the damp grass underneath my feet. Only the monotone eulogies that floated through my ears and reminded me that I was at a funeral. It was only when the speeches ended that I finally was able to raise my head. Harold Anderson, forever in our hearts. A small gathering of people, mostly made of relatives that I didn't even know were related to me. Were huddled around a simple, small grave. For a while, all I heard was the sound of raindrops on umbrellas. If it weren't raining, everything would probably be in a heavy silence. I looked beside me where my father was standing and holding a large black umbrella for our small family of 3. His face was emotionless. A strange sight next to my weeping mother. I wondered what was going through his mind. After all, etched into the smooth gray tombstone before us was his father's name. My grandfather, the one who raised me like his own daughter, had passed away that day. The ceremony was small, but only close family were allowed to come. Slowly, though, people began to leave, leaving my father, mother, and me behind at the grave. A man dressed in a clean black suit under the uniform black umbrella of the funeral attendees walked toward us, introducing himself as my grandfather's lawyer. He pulled out a few documents from his suitcase and began to read aloud its contents.
And now, I shall read Harold Anderson's last will and testament.
Only my parents and I were allowed to be present for my grandfather's will. It was under the strict request of this lawyer, and there was a reason why.
And to my dearest granddaughter, I give my estate. All the furniture and decor that resides within the house shall also be given to my granddaughter.
What? I couldn't believe my ears. I had earned the family estate at 18? That was impossible, and yet it was written by my own grandfather's hand.
He passed the family estate to her? Why am I not surprised?
Dear.
Well, did he say anything about what will become of the CEO and chairman position of the Anderson Toys Company?
No. It is presumed that the vice chairman will succeed the position.
Even to the bitter end, he wouldn't give in. What a stubborn old man.
Shaking his head, my father turned to face my mother with a serious expression on his face.
About the estate. Should we send her there to get used to the building? It'll be a good place for her to live after high school.
Are you sure we should?
Why not? This would be a good experience for her.
Honey, what do you think?
I really wasn't sure what to say. Why did my grandfather think I was the appropriate heir for the mansion? Was I even ready to live on my own?
Well, that seems to be it. We'll be taking our leave now. I'm sure the little heiress needs some time to adjust.
David!
Even though she raised her voice, my dad wordlessly began walking back to the car, disinterested.
Don't mind him, honey. I think that your grandfather's passing really affected him. Why don't we get back home for now?
Why is her voice like that? You can go ahead. You go on ahead to the car, Mom. I think I need some time alone with Grandpa.
Oh, of course. Take all the time you need.
She gave me a quick hug and hurried after my dad. I looked around the funeral grounds, which was completely empty. Which were would that be which was or which were completely empty? I don't know. Save for the sullen-looking grave that was laid out in front of me. I'm sure if Grandpa were in charge of arranging all of this, it would have been much different. It was blatantly obvious that my dad was in charge of the whole event. Who else would bury their own family the same day as that they pass? Everyone knew my grandfather's love for toys, and yet the grave was a mere stone slab on the ground, void of any children's toys. My dad didn't even bother putting flowers. His disdain for my grandfather was almost pitiful. Isabel, sorry, Grandpa. I tried to force out some words, but the only thing that came out was a choked sob. You told me to stay strong, but now I'm the farthest thing from it, like that one time a long time ago. Grandpa.
Oh, it's so good to see you again, sweetie.
I swept into a giant bear hug, and we both laughed as he swung me around like an airplane. It was one of my favorite things about seeing my grandfather, the way he greeted me. Unlike my father, my grandfather was loving and playful, even as I grew older. Sorry that Daddy couldn't be here today. He said that he wasn't feeling too good again. Oh, this is actually really, hitting me hard. It had always been like that. Dad missed every visit to Grandpa's house, citing that he was busy with work and wasn't feeling well.
Is that so? Well, that's okay. Daddy can come around next time. And you're here, right?
Yeah. So what are we doing today, Grandpa? Mommy says that there's a dessert cafe open in town. Maybe we could go?
Oh, I would love to. But I've been so busy with the company these days. We're actually working on a little something. Would you like to see?
Yes. Oh, is that a toy?
It is. I was designing a new line of them, but I feel like something's missing. You don't think you could help me out, could you?
Of course. He placed the toy in my hands with a smile, and I inspected it carefully. It was beautifully crafted. Obviously, a lot of hard work was put into it. There was one thing though.
So, what do you think?
I think a heart on its chest should light up when you hug it. It'll be like it's alive, and it can be like a little nightlight before you sleep. He stroked his chin, considering my input, while nodding his head. After a few moments of silent deliberation, he turned to me with a chuckle.
That's a great idea. I'll get to changing it right away. You're always like my little lucky charm, dear. You always know what to add to make the perfect toy.
Ahaha. Well, I hope I can be like you one day, Grandpa.
You want to make toys as well?
Well, making people happy is the best feeling in the world. I don't know if I want to make toys when I grow up, though.
Don't worry too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy as well.
That makes sense. Daddy doesn't think of it in the same way, though.
Your father. I'm sure he just wants the best for you.
I'm not sure about that.
Sweetie, look at me.
He bit down to look at me eye level, with a serious look on his face.
As much as your father may say something that doesn't make sense now, you must remember that he's always thinking about you. He loves you. There's no doubt about that. And you need to love him just as equally.
I don't hate Daddy. I really do love him. I don't know why he's like this, though.
Your father and I have had some difficulties with each other in the past. But it's nothing that you should be concerned about.
I had heard tidbits of this from my mother and various other people. The only people who had stayed quiet about my father and grandfather, both of them refrained from saying a word on the subject matter, but it was clear that whatever happened set up a wall between them. It's hard, though, trying to pretend as if nothing were wrong.
However, no matter what, you have to stay strong. You're a big girl already, and, well, there'll come a day when it seems like it's you against the world. But always remember that your family and friends will be here with you. Daddy, Mommy, your friends at school, me. We'll stand together to get through it.
How can you be so sure of that?
Because we'll be right here and here.
He pointed his fingers to his head first, and then pointed at my chest.
So stay strong. Promise?
For a moment I looked almost sad, pleading. But as quickly as it had come, the expression disappeared from his face, and he was all smiles once again. Promise. Upon hearing that, Grandpa let out a great burst of laughter and stood up.
All right then. Enough of that. How about I whip up some special homemade dessert? I know I can't accompany you at that new cafe, but we sure can talk and eat while I cook and do some paperwork.
Homemade dessert? I'll race to the kitchen.
Hey, slow down there. I'm not what I used to be.
You will be the very home I love to see you in. Why? Why would you think I would be ready to take it, especially after this? A surge of anger bubbled within me, but I quickly swallowed it. There was no use in getting mad, especially when the person in question was no longer there. I'm sorry. It's hard to stay calm when you've left me with so many questions, especially about what happened between you and Dad. Ha! What am I doing, talking to a grave? My vision blurred, and I suddenly realized that I was crying. My face heated up, as tears rolled down my cheeks. I'll bring you some flowers later. I miss you, Grandpa. I'll try my best to fulfill my promise I gave to you, even if the world might be turned against me. I left the grave, wiping my tears hastily so my parents wouldn't see.
Well, it's time to head back home. I'll cook up your favorite lasagna when we get